super strong as we get into this game today. It's our first game of the day, but it is the 6th game of the round. For Rainplosion, her style has just been absolutely marvelous throughout this. She started her competitive in set 7 here. She won the Jade Cup. She had the strongest average performance at the North American Regionals over 3 days, and that's how she qualified here for the World Championships. She tends to cherry pick, I'd say, from a lot of styles and then utilize that to her degree with that very diligent study, helping her understand those little moments. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how Rainplosion can perform today, but again, kind of calling it back, she has been sick for 2 weeks, so maybe not 100% mentally there.
I really like looking here at Brix. You can see on the camera. I love the little personality we can see. He's got the Tunisian flag behind him, making sure he gets that rep in. Only North
I mean, he
African player
has
in
it in his name, right?
Yeah.
Like, if I expect one player to do it, it would be Brix.
I do love seeing the facial expressions of players, too. It's like you get that early establishment of, like, how are their nerves? How are they feeling about this? Brix has a very casual feel to it, but you can feel that energy start to build a little bit as that tension arises. How does that pan out when you're absolutely crushing? How does that pan out when you're not doing so hot?
I can tell you exactly what that face is for Brix right there. He sees a BF sword, he sees a chain vest, and he's thinking, is this a Seraphine Graves angle yet?
I mean, it's a good spot for a Seraphine Graves sort of thing, but there's all sorts of different directions you can go from this.
Including Jade.
Yeah, exactly. You know, kind of talking about from the tempo exclusively as well, we've heard players really emphasize how important that tank items can be early on because it gives you open to options. You don't necessarily have to commit to something. Sunfire Cape is something that's a good find here, but you do have a sword to go with it, so kind of emphasizing again that that Seraphine Graves angle. You have a Zeke's that's available early on as we get to the gold augment.
Yeah, and that's where we expect to see our augments here. It is going to be a little bit of, you know, a temptation coming in for Brix with that Protector of the Cosmos. We saw that being picked yesterday by one of the Korean players. I believe it was My Paradise that went with it. And I don't think Brix has the perfect opener for that, as he's currently not running any of those. But we are seeing scope weapons being picked up by Shungo, and it's also in the options for Here We Go.
This is going to be dangerous, and this is why they're taking their time picking out. You'll see the preparation picked up instead for Here We Go. You don't want to risk having to compete for that Yone reroll composition because it is so absolutely crucial to get that Yone 3 early.
Yeah, and Here We Go does have some Astrals on the board that should be getting some econ early, but he is meeting up with Brix, and we just saw Brix with that Leona too and the Bramble Vest. That's just gonna hurt.
Yeah, the Guardian, Dragonmancer, Karma in the backline with Sunfire board. Brix is going for the win streak strat.
I think it's a good way to go for it, and that's how we saw Brix be dominant in pretty much all of their games, coming into EMEA, coming into the Western Last Chance qualifier. It was when he's able to establish those win streaks is when he's able to establish those big wins as well.
And we see, of course, Dasik once again with the girlfriend buff. It's a powerful buff.
Okay, about that. So I said that yesterday on broadcast. It has been tweeted, and then somebody came up to me saying, like, you know, Dasik hasn't been doing too well. Maybe it's not a buff, but a debuff. And I felt so bad about myself. No. So I'm very happy Dasik has his girlfriend in the back once again. She's fantastic, and we love her very much.
Everything. You need someone there to support you.
Yes.
100%.
We'd love to see it. Of course, this opener here from Dasik leaves him open to a couple of options. You can see him just going with that Bruiser frontline. Hasn't committed to anything. Unlike Fly, we see that Dragonmancer emblem on.
Yeah, plus a blue buff sitting on the Kaisa as well. Like, this is very much a prominent stance saying, hey, I'm going Kaisa, don't touch.
I really wanted it to be Nunu, though. Like, I know it's Kaisa. I know that's like the specialty for Dragonmancer reroll, but there's a part of my heart that still belongs to Nunu.
I mean, I did like it in the set 7.
Yeah.
Set 7.5, you know, they toned that down quite a bit. But yeah, for Dasik here, nothing really committing to it at this point. And, you know, 3-2's really where you're going to be looking for a commitment on that one. It just tells me that the augments in the early spot just weren't standing out for what Dasik had. And yesterday we did see them kind of lean into lines, mostly just because it felt like he had to in a lot of spots. Just not really clean options open. The items weren't there necessarily. Just, you know, in this one, it's looking to a stronger commit towards 3-2.
Yeah, but we just saw a player saying, please don't touch my Kaisa, and Dasik is doing exactly that for now. Has the Lagoons in, has the Kaisa on 2 with a bow. That could be trouble.
Oh, hold on. He's leveled up. He was going to just kind of chill that one out with a full board and then decided, double jacks is worth it here. Trying to save gold.
Yeah, well, he picked up a win in the second round with a loss in the first round, so he's trying not to go for that bouncy win effect where you just go win, loss, or in this case, loss, win, loss, win. You have to establish one of those streaks. Dasic is sitting in the bottom portion of this right now at 27th in points coming into today. And so because of that, he's going to absolutely have to have some big performances today. Take those high risks and get those big rewards.
Absolutely. Something interesting to me is the Cannoneer crest being picked up by Beantum here, because we have seen Cannoneer be interesting with Darkflight, a slot in the Graves, but maybe this is where we're going with this?
Yeah, but I'm bummed, man. We've got another Namzi Evoker. What's going on? Give me my Cannoneer Namzi. Give me someone running the composition, please. I beg you.
Oh, you want
someone do
You
it.
want the Soul Siphon to come into effect.
I want the Soul Siphon.
Very rare
Cannoneer
composition.
Namzi. Yeah, but it's so cool. I don't think we've had a single Cannoneer Namzi between both days of the competition so far.
And if you take a look at the sidebar here with the open items, we only see 2 players right now preserving items. So again, taking that stance of if you're in the bottom half, you have to take big risks, so stronger early commitments. And if you're in the top half, maybe you can coast a little bit and just play for strong tempo finishes to really even out the points that you have and just get a strong finish at the end of the day. It's really going to change some of the lobby. Yesterday, we saw players constantly saving items to get into ideal spots. Today, though, you're not necessarily taking standard lines of play.
Going to be seeing here on this board, of course, the Rengar picked up for Bintum, not dedicating that Cannoneer emblem on to anyone. Don't want to sacrifice that juicy, juicy item slot on Rengar.
Yeah, you're just going to get so much Seeks out of this, as every unit he currently has on board is Darkflight, and I feel like the value is a little bit more here right now. But of course, with the Cannoneer emblem, he has the option to go for that Darkflight essence later on, which is really good.
Yeah, you still got to have the Zeke's option at the end of the day as well. I think this is a great spot to commit to the Darkflight angle, just because you have both of those options open for you. You don't necessarily have to go for a level 6, roll out your board and
hold on,
or everything.
Is this allowed?
Okay.
Are we allowing that? Players getting mort docked?
Well,
I'm getting word from the admins. Apparently, this is a natural part of TFT.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't sure, but we have confirmed that Brix is allowed to find a Deja on 2-5 with a 100 streak into Krugs.
Yeah, this is really strong. We are on Dawnbringers from Mirage, so not necessarily as powerful as some of the other ones where you get that natural damage buff. But pretty much anytime you pick up Deja early on and you have a 2-star Leona, I'm gonna go for it.
Absolutely, because right now he is so stable. As you said, win streaking on 100. This board should bring him well into late game and allow him to open up the economy. And even with Dawnbringers not being the greatest, you have the options to pivot into something else later on. He has Sunfire board as augment. That's not something that locks you into anything. So he's very much just chilling right now.
Oh, yeah.
Looking across the lobby as well, here we go, continuing that loss streak. And I'm curious how Rain's been doing, because 94 HP implies to me maybe a streak since the first PvP round.
Look at that.
Oh, man, it feels so good to be right about something for once. It's like, she
for
lost
once.
one round, and I was like, yes,
hey,
the power.
I went back and watched all of the rounds again, and you were just striking some points with these great deliveries on them, and I'm just like, it's wonderful to see. The thing I want to highlight for Rainplosion here is very often she's playing from behind. She will focus on economy and play heavy loss streaks. She's comfortable playing from low HP total, so when she's on a win streak here, that's very dangerous for the rest of the lobby.
Something else that might be very dangerous for this lobby is something we're seeing on the right side here. Fly on Kai'Sa, Dasic on Kai'Sa, and here we go. Also seems to be on a Lagoon angle. Doesn't seem to have found the Kai'Sa just yet, but that's not good news. If all players are going for Kai'Sa, you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, a lot of times it can just be like just a strong unit for item holds as well. Yeah. It's one of the things that I think that can make the Kai'Sa reroll a little bit weaker, or you arrive a little bit later. But right now, it's Dasic's the one who's just kind of taking that coast angle. But you look at that Dragonman's request that Fly has.
So Fly has locked in.
He's going for that.
He needs to find that Kai'Sa. So anybody else going for Kai'Sa is bad news. And we know Dasic is on the Kai'Sa too. We see Fly's board right now, and he only has that Kai'Sa one.
I had a dumb moment the last round because I was looking and I saw, oh no, here we go, one around, ending his loss streak. It was Krugs. We're good. We're good. Everything's fine. But here on Fly's board, like you said, just a Kai'Sa 1, but 2 of those best-in-slot items you're looking for. Traditionally, that third item is going to be either an Infinity Edge or a Giant Slayer, which seems to be a little bit more popular in Fly's repertoire, and he's got a BF sword on the bench either way.
Goodness, we saw Shunga at was it 60-something gold?
Yeah.
Coming into this round, still at 82 HP, and it's not like this was like a weak spot coming into this. They're getting kind of beat up in this round right now, but that's a jeweled gauntlet plus a blue buff on that one.
Yeah.
A nice spot here for Shunga though, just very strong spot where again you're open to a lot of options, good economy. That's ultimately what you're focusing on coming into stage 3, stage 4.
Augment's coming up, and we've seen Shunga go for these similar spots before from a loss streak. Remember, he turned 13 HP on Jade into a first place.
All right,
Yeah.
anything room?
Augments coming in. It's going to be silver augments for
I
this
saw 2
one.
recombobulators. Someone click it, please.
Please,
I'm
it's not
begging
going to
you.
happen. So here we go on Tiny Titans, an augment that players love picking up, especially in tournaments. It just gives you that extra cushion, and if you're just looking to go into top 4, those 30 HP might just bring you over that line. 2 players still waiting to pick. They don't have much time left. Dasik, as we know, always taking his time. I don't think the blue battery is going to be just as interesting here as if you were running an Astral Com, and we see it here. He's not going to pick that up.
Yeah. Kai'Sa here is very much an item holder for Dasik as well, but I think that the blue buff did look the blue battery did look appealing in this instance. Ultimately, just settling for an item and say, you know what, more items equals more good.
Nathan, this is reading as a Jade angle to me with all the units he's picking up right now.
It is a lot of tank items, which is kind of where my concern is. Like, finding 1 or 2 of these early on pretty good. Finding 3 of them, it's like I'm kind of getting some low-key Xayah vibes here. You just have such a stacked front line. You have a bow open with a glove. Last Whisper's great on Xayah, and if you have ultimately enough economy and enough health, it really can get it done.
Yeah, and something else that can get it done. Shungo's Yone already a little bit on fire, does have that Rage Blade. We are seeing the Shimmer Scale item is going to be Mogul's Mail, which just allows this Braum to be extra tanky here, and that will serve a win for Shungo against Dasik.
It's a really good spot, too. Like you were saying before, Nathan, all that economy is really translating well. Got the Band of Thieves off that second augment choice. That means he's going to have a fully itemized, not always greatly itemized Olaf on that board to back up the Yone's damage.
Yeah, we saw him switching out a couple things there at the end from Dasik's point of view, but again, no commitment has been found from Dasik's point of view.
Yeah, and right now we are on Conda's board, one of the Brazilian players that I believe was a little bit underrated going into this. Generally, the region a little bit underrated. Slooper and Conda have been repping their flag, doing really well in this tournament. Conda is currently on 11th place. We see him pick up that Tiny Titan augment as well, and currently on that Mirage comp.
Yeah, Conda may not be highly regarded highly known amongst a lot of players because he does tend to take breaks when it comes into these sets in the competitive play. He is highly regarded amongst his peers, though, and it's just, one of the big things is he just didn't compete.
Yeah.
Set 6 at all. But this season we saw him with consistent top 4 finishes in the Pro Legends, and it really speaks to that. The fact that he's still holding ground high in the points right now, strong in the Brazilian community. Just a nice figure to keep your eye on right now. A big position to make it to that top 8 tomorrow.
Coming into this Stage 3 carousel, let's check in with those win streaks. Brix's has fallen. Someone who hasn't. Rainplosion coming in, known as a lost streak player, since 2-2 has not lost a single round.
Something interesting about Brix and Rainplosion both of them went with the late game specialist, already signaling that a level 9 shouldn't be too far away from them, as that's really what they're angling for. And Rain is in a perfect position here with that win streak, with the gold that she has going into this.
But we've seen this exact thing happen to Brix yesterday. If you guys remember, he was going full 100 streak, fully invested versus Dongul. Dongul finished off, beat his board, and Brix just fell from the top of the leaderboards down to the bottom. And I'm worried, looking at stage 3-5, he's just taken that loss. Is that going to be history repeating itself?
It definitely could be. I'm going to look at Rainplosion's board here and really try to break this down a bit further, too, because made just a fantastic point with this. That Archangel Staff Slam, that really spells out the Dragons at this point. It's like, if you were 90% sure or 99% sure, in my head now, I'm 100% certain of this. Again, this is the strength that the early tempo can provide, is if you have these win streaks, you're going to have high health, high economy, the 2 ideal things to get to level 9 at this spot. And again, Rainplosion, very comfortable from all these angles, very knowledgeable from it. The win streak, the 9 dragons, it all adds up here.
The Dragons are a super flexible composition as well. We were talking about how worried we were about day 6 items, so we see his board finally starting to struggle. But since Dragons can use pretty much any items or no items, as long as you're not stuck with a bunch of AD and then forced into Siphon, you're going to be pretty happy at that level 9.
Yeah, and I just want to check in with someone. We are seeing Shungo hit that Yone too, but I do want to check in with Fly. So Fly was the player that had that Dragonmancer crest, really signaling this is where we're going with this. And last time we saw them, there was only a Kai'Sa 1. Now upgraded to Kai'Sa 2. Of course, ideally, you want to be re-rolling this, but we know, here we go in day 6, we're also on that Kai'Sa train, so he will not be able to find her now, at least. So what is he going to do?
Yeah, Nathan, I have to ask this question that is probably going to be met with raucous guffaws. Could this be like a Sohm or an Asol angle?
What the heck does that mean, what you just asked?
Big laughs? You know?
Oh, I see. Okay, no, that does make a lot of sense. I think it's mostly just going to be waiting till that 4-1 spot. Again, you're still building up your economy, sitting at 40 gold. You're hoping that the 2 players holding on to Kai'Sa are going to get out of it to transfer the items onto something stronger. This round, very close here for Fly, continuing that win streak. That is a huge win for Fly in this one. YGQF. This absolutely spells out the rest of it. Again, the pair of Volley Bears that are sitting on your bench here, everything really boils down to that win being a huge boost as we head into that 4-1, hoping the Kai'Sas get sold, 3-star this out, start cranking the wins.
Yeah, we can see Rain did preserve her win streak going all the way into stage 4.
Big
so
deal.
her economy is going to be great going into that late game specialist as well, as Megs pointed out earlier. Now, heading over to Here We Go's board, who seems to be mid-rolled out with 2 Zoes in the shop at level 7.
And an Idas.
Yeah.
How much more signs do you need to pivot this comp?
Minus 4 Seraphine on your bench, I think.
Okay,
the math on that.
There's a lot of options open to this, honestly, and I'm very curious to see how they go with this. It looks like they're going to forego the Shimmer Scale idea, even though they have the spatula on their bench.
It's the preparation, right?
I think this is a big deal about this. The preparation really spelling out the Grave Seraphine angle. I mean, you already have a 2-star Seraphine sitting on your bench. You have a 2-star Rakan in play. You have a decent item holder. It's time to find a new one here, but everything is adding up to really go Seraphine Graves, and it's hard for me to see a pivot from this angle. You just don't have the gold.
I get it, but I also see or saw an opportunity to maybe just go the full Shimmer, get a Zoe 2 at like level 7. Just would have been kind of cool, you know? But now with the Zeri 2 fully prepped in the middle there, poor Seraphine stuck in carry duty. That's not something she really excels at this late into the game, but we'll see how well it goes.
Yeah, on the other side is still the Deja that Brix found so early, and we were talking about Brix and how he's going to do here. He was on a win streak, has fallen out, has bled out. We can see how that happened. Deja is just not doing enough.
I mean, that's a big hit that Brix has taken to this spot. We see the late game specialist on their side, but ultimately you have to stabilize the board. For Here We Go, this is a major win because you still have a weak unit carrying your items in this spot. You still don't have the ideal items built out, and it's in a spot where things can really stack up for an unfavorable position. Another silver augment here. This is very beneficial for the players intending to go to level 9 because it's a weaker lobby inherently, but still focusing on Brix there. They're going to have to find a unit to carry those items better, or they're going to have to continue to get good matchups and find themselves being able to go to level 8.
I was really looking forward to the Recombobulator coming out, but nobody is doing us that favor. It's not going to happen today. And maybe we check in with Beantum, because Beantum has been on the Cannoneer Darkflight angle early on, has now found Thrill, which is pretty good with Rengar, and that could be interesting.
Shungo had a reroll on the silver augments. You know, this is the one downside of saving your rerolls is that sometimes it's on silver, and not the greatest ones to pick up from that spot.
That's a really good one to pick up, though. Really strong micro player. If you're going to be able to get future sight with that and manipulate those Zephyr placements, that's exactly the item you would want as that player.
Yeah, and we are seeing Beantum face off against Conda here, is going to go in, and you can see how that Rengar does. Still has the Zeeks in the Dark Flight spot to get multiplied onto the units here is lovely for him. Of course, he would have really liked it better together, but that just wasn't in the table with the Silver Augments coming through here. But the Thrill definitely helps in keeping that Rengar alive.
This is looking really strong right now. You know, again, because you have those Silver Augments and the lobby's a little bit weaker, that's a big buff to these carries that want to be in the 3-star range on the 3 cost. This is 8 Rengars that are ascending assembled now here for
Rolling doesn't find it. One copy of that Rengar. He really wants to have it. And someone else is looking. There is one Kaisa missing for Fly. He is hoping the others have sold theirs off. Gonna find it here. Amazing. Really, really good for Fly.
And this is great, too. You have a spatula set up for another Dragonmancer's Augment. You have a sword in place to finish out this build with Kaisa having Infinity Edge, Jeweled Gauntlet, and Blue Buff. This is absolutely a great spot for Fly. As long as you're not hitting really terrible matchups or getting really bad fired RNG, I think this is in contention for a first-place take.
What I'm really appreciating here as well is not slamming down that BF sword. Because like I said earlier, the two most likely options for this third item, Infinity Edge or Giant Slayer. But we got a dragon coming up. Who knows if that's going to be a Chaos or Order Dragon? If it is, you've got that third item slot still open.
Something really unfortunate for Fly, though. He spent some of his gold to find this Kaisa, and it wasn't enough to secure a win. Same thing is true for Beantum, who was rolling for that Rengar, went all the way to 0 and did not find that Rengar 3. So really the upgrade's not coming in for these two players, but somebody else has found an A-Soul, we're being told. Apparently Dasik, who's been kind of bleeding out throughout the lobby, was on the Lagoons early on, didn't really work out with two other players looking for them. So he apparently found an A-Soul. We should check in with him.
I definitely agree with that one. Fly prioritizing the Rod here as well, finishing out the Dragonmancer spatula instead. They only have 3 Dragonmancers.
It's an Ocean. He shapeshifted. Right. Fake news.
Picking up a bow
Graves too, as well.
Yeah.
It's not like a highlight for the comp, I'd say. It's just a very strong unit to find. I mean, Graves too. This is one of the strongest things to set. For Dasik here, this is like some heavy transitions that are going to come into place, and this is going to be tough to flesh out ultimately.
No, look, bottom right corner. Dasik's girlfriend is wearing a fan shirt with a Peepo and his name on it.
That's so cute.
I love that.
Getting free merch ads on stream.
Please clip it. Clip it and ship it, chat. I know you're listening.
Alshin just a Rage Blade right now. It's going to take a long time for this to get going. You have a slowdown on the stun from your Tempest. You have a strong number of tank items in the front line. It is an Idas 1, so not holding up for too long. And then the Jace, the shields aren't enough. So this rain down here, you're looking to just clear damage. It doesn't pick off enough. Big hit to Dasik here, and really spells out why this can be such a risky comp. If you're not fleshed out strong enough, you're going to take big hits sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, this is what we talked about previously, A-Soul versus Ao Shin. Ao Shin really great if there's single targets left, which means if A, your board can't stall long enough for multiple ults, or B, the rest of your board just doesn't do any damage, your Ao Shin isn't going to be able to do much, which is why we can see it getting swapped out.
We are seeing somewhat of a pivot from Dasik here, who found a Xayah, found a Jace naturally in store, now getting picked up with the Hecarim, has their Rage Wings kind of going. This is a comp Dasik, I think, is really, really comfortable with. We've seen him go into the Xayah Rage Wing comp whenever it was possible, and for him, the shop is just giving him the sign to send it.
Wow, Brix is like hard committing to the level 9 here as well. I mean, this is a tough risk to take because it's such a low life total. Soraka's going to pad that a tad bit, but ultimately you're just trying to mitigate the damage from really both of these sides right now. For Dasik, I think the advantage is in their corner. Last Whisper plus Rage Ring, plus Rage Blade, a great setup for this. And Soraka continuing to hold this down a little bit, but ultimately not able to break through this line is Brix in this spot. A huge hit that Brix is taking down.
Face. You can see it on his face the entire time. He had his hands in front of it. And there's going to be the Order Dragon, so big pickups coming out across the board for these carries that have been wisely left unitemized.
Brix going to level 9 here instantly. Picks up a Shyvana, picks up the Idas, is rolling. Another Idas comes in. Siphon in the store. He will go for it, will not go for it. Is opting into the dragons. Now 3 dragons in place, but will that be enough to save him? There's a Terra waiting. If he can sell something off, then that's going to be another pickup. But this board now needs to win so much. He does have a Soraka, so he has an opportunity to get his HP back into a realm where it can compete with the others, but it's going to take so long.
Picking up the Radiant Ionic Spark there as well. That's a major buff to the damage that you're going to have in Dacia backline. But look at Beantim's board right now. The Brink of Dawn being found for Rengar. Rengar carrying a Cannoneer item at 3 to support this. You have a Rage Wing plus a Last Whisper plus the Zeke's getting parsed out. I think that Beantim's board is very strong right now and is going to punish anybody who is not in a stable spot.
Yeah, incredibly strong with that Cannoneer augment, and we can see Brix's board as he is himself on the brink of death. Dragonmancer Shyvana, his last hope to win out against Here We Go's board, but Shyvana already below half. So low on health, the ultimate will help her, but Deja not pushing through the front line.
Come on,
the
Soraka!
back line's a different story, as it looks like Brix will survive for another day.
For Here We Go, though, I have to say this is pretty impressive to have a Senna 2 at this spot.
Yeah.
Like, this has been a hard carry through stage 5. It is so rare that you can get a one-cost 2-star unit to hold for that long. But for Brix, a major victory here. Not too far away from having this board really highlight its strength. It's a major win from this one, but again, still looking for a tad bit of that damage. And I think right now that's just through 2 stars.
This hurts. So he's been selling off the Terra in hopes for a Shyvana too. That was something he wanted to hit. Now has the Yasuo to offer it in shop, but does not go for it as there's... Yeah, there we go. Sells off to Shyvana. That was something he wanted to have, but for now, it's all about trying to survive, and somebody is going to be in that path. Here comes Rainplosion with her dragons that she set up. The Asol is ramping up with the Archangels. Shyvana will try to do her best to keep him contemplated, but can the Deja finish it off? The Idas is trying to hold on. The Soraka explodes. The sustain is gone, and I don't think Brix has an out of this.
With one more Asol ultimate, Brix is down and out of game number 1 here in day 2.
It's a tough loss there, but Aurelion Sol, 2-star on Rainplosion's board there. She has absolutely pieced out that board super nicely in this one. For Dasik, I'm looking at, this is still a 1-star Xayah.
There she
the bottom right, there's a
is.
2-star though. And look, I want to highlight the Titans here that's sitting in the backline on Xayah. This is one of the ways that you can counter a Rengar composition. You have those extra stacks, that extra armor, that extra magic resist. It's how she stays alive just long enough to finish off that fight.
That's a very typical Dasik special, I want to say. We've seen this from him, just making sure she survives. And for now, it's not going to be the stabby tabby coming out. He needs to fight off the water gun comp that has been built, but it is a copy, so it shouldn't be too hard. If he struggles with that one, he's going to fall, and his HP are not a lot, so he needs this win so desperately. The Shyvana of the enemy team is still alive, but can the Xayah take her out? I'm pretty confident she can. It was his Shyvana. Yeah. What am I saying? I don't know.
Pretty close, but it's always concerning there with the Xayah. She was not on the opposite corner of the carry, so her feathers aren't going to do quite as much damage, and that is where like 90% of her damage will come from. Each individual feather kind of tickles more than anything.
Yeah, the big thing I think to point out there too is that the Graves was missing the Edgenite, and when Graves is missing that, as soon as he starts to get focused, it's a quick fall very often from that spot. I think it's a super key item to have on that unit. When you don't have it, it's a lot tougher. As we get a glimpse into some of the other lobbies, and I'm seeing something in this top right here.
It's Neela 3, baby, coming in really strong into those shield compositions as well. So no 3-stars in this lobby at the moment, except for all 3 on your board right now.
Not the big 3s.
Yeah.
When we highlight that 3-star, we're always talking about the 4 and 5 cost.
Yeah, so that Neela, you can see her in action. She's just gonna slice and dice throughout the entire enemy board. It is going to be good day against Tamura, one of my favorite players in this tournament for sure, but the Zone does so much extra damage, and I don't think Tamura can hold this one off. The Aoshin tries one more time, but the Neela finishes him off, and Tamura holds on with like 1 or 2 HP.
Back to our game, we're going to see Rain's board that she's been building up all game versus Dasik, holding on by a thread, but the Xayah will be able to rip through this Terra with just 1 more ultimate.
Woo! Big hit, and Xayah hasn't taken a single hit from a black hole yet, but it is now powered up from Rainplosion's side. So this all boils down to whether or not that can actually get the hit through and live. It does not, despite the full stacks on the Titans there. A huge loss for Dasik. He needed big finishes today.
And on Shunga's board, we've caught back up, going for that Yone reroll, but is missed consistently here. Finds a Braum 3, which is like, cool, dude, but you still don't have the Yone 3, which provides most of your damage.
absolutely true. That Yone 3 is crucial for him right now. We don't know how many stacks are on this Olaf, but judging by the glow on his hands, it's going to be quite a few. And that that Brown 3 might just give him enough time to get there. Jungo has to hope that he's not going to meet up with a kitty cat. That's not going to be the case. It's Fly on the other side.
Yeah, Fly does get Zephyred. Great placement there by Xunge, but Fly's Kai'Sa completely uncontested, and watch as the missiles fly. Yone still safe, healing from the hand of justice, keeping him alive, but the front line is falling quickly. One more ultimate from Kai'Sa will not be enough as Yone takes her down and secures Xunge one more round.
Hasaki!
Highlighting the power there of the Yasuo as well. When you isolate a unit, it doesn't matter how strong it is. You get that third cast off, and suddenly it's just gone. I think that Xunge, despite the fact that this Yone 3 is arriving so late, it's still not even here yet. You know, I've heard a Yone is never late, always arrives precisely when it means to. It's the fact that it's so late and that you're still surviving.
The train was broken.
It's such a big highlight to how well they have pieced out that board.
I'm really interested to see Here We Go's board because we know Fly has found the Kai'Sa 3. He is on those Dragonmancers, and Here We Go was looking for that Lagoon Water Gun comp. He slotted out the Graves here, which is beautiful display of a very common tech. When you have that preparation and you find your carry unit, it doesn't have all of the stacks. As soon as you enter the PvE round, you slot it out. It gets an extra stack of that preparation buff from the augment. Just perfect.
Small technical play for the big buffs.
Yeah.
And for Here We Go, this is everything. Here we go indeed. Positioning is going to mean so much to this one. Not ideal in terms of the way that the item placement can work out. Where is this Zeke's going is my big question.
Oh,
the
no!
Braum is just so heavy. And again, the Graves is in a spot where if he takes aggro, it's not going to drop unless he's eliminating the damage here. But the Braum's getting chewed through pretty quickly. The double ZZ Rot's going to be a highlight. Graves going pretty untouched. The damage is not there for Xunge.
Yeah, someone is gonna die here, and it's just going to hurt. It's going to be a dice of cutscene coming in here, and that it is for Xunge, unfortunately.
Look at the rest of the lobby as we see Konda fall.
Wow!
We now have our top four. Xunge barely avoids a 6. But looking at the health totals, I feel like it's pretty safe to predict that Rain's going to be successful here with that Dragon board. But Fly found a Jax 3.
Yeah, in Rainplosion's board, I think, is spelling everything. She said so much time at level 9 to flesh out a Dragon's board. It's just going to be tough to beat. The big one there for me is the 6th place and the 5th place finish. 1 health being the difference.
Yeah. That's going to be so good for Xunge, but something that's not so good for every other player in this lobby is Rainplosion's position. She's just so healthy and happy up there, and Here We Go might get eliminated.
We see the Jax frontline is going to determine how long Fly's board lasts against this Grave. Uncontested in the front line until the Yasuo comes through. One more ult from Kai'Sa will not be enough. She's fighting for her life, but the Zyra stun secures the round win for Here We Go.
Big deal on that one as we're getting a glimpse at the final boss of the lobby effectively in this one. Again, Rainplosion had so much time to put this together, and there's still more time to build it out. Something that we've commonly seen from Rainplosion is when she gets in the spot and she's super comfortable, is she will go for Soraka 3. 2 tournaments in this season alone. She has put together Soraka 3 and crushed the lobby. It's one of the most unbeatable 3-stars that's ever been in the game. Right now, there's 5 more Sorakas here. There's 44 gold. There's 73 health. How on earth are you supposed to overcome this, even if you can defeat this board right now?
She only needs 4 more, right? She has 1 in each corner hiding behind those big dragons and a 2-star Soraka already on board. One thing she's also looking for is, of course, the Shyvana, and she's going to face off against Fly here, and he just might die.
There we go, the Kai'Sa firing away to save her life. The Aesol behind and the Terra in front means it's not going to be enough for Fly as he falls, potentially 4th place. Definitely, now that Here We Go is 1.
Here We Go actually managing to clutch this one out and survive against Beantum is a pretty big deal as he is on 1 HP. Beantum still in here we go, trying his best to make it into those top 2, because I don't think anyone can beat Rain here.
Rainplosion gets another Archangels.
Yeah. Now triple Archangels on her board. Toss it on whoever at that point.
Stop giving these away. Yeah, you gotta stop the monster, not feed him more.
I think they have accepted their fate at this point.
Oh, you're definitely playing for second place at this point. Like
Exactly.
for Rainplosion, this Soraka 3 is like an insurance plan.
Here we go, going to level 9 here, trying to ensure at least a little bit of extra sustain on this board here, but the Graves is missing some of the preparation stacks. Is that?
Yeah, I hope that's a visual bug, because otherwise he goes in a rough spot.
Yeah, had 3 after the creep round.
He had 3, but he hasn't recreated it. Or
my
right?
gosh.
That would have been crazy.
This is a monstrous board.
Yeah, we're gonna go in here here we go, hoping to take down Rainplosion, which seems like the impossible, but his team is trying his best to do just that. The Graves is still alive. He's getting extra sustain from the backline, but he falls. It is on to the rest of the team to take down the Dragonster, on to the Ace All, but the Dark Hole comes in, and it takes down the board.
And there we go as well.
I'm going to be watching Rainplosion's board now. We know that this game very, 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 very likely only has 1 round left. She has 71 gold. Is it time for Soraka 3?
I'm kind of digging the just wait. it's just like a big flex at this point.
She's rolling.
Yeah, it is worth a roll. It's worth noted that the Rengar here with the Cannoneer and the Brink of Dawn in the back, that does threaten this Aurelion Soul in the back line. So how do you position this perfectly from Rainplosion? I think she's demonstrated in the past that she has a strong understanding of how to position against these assassin compositions. Let's see if it worked out here.
Bintum, of course, on this last round was rolling down, only 7 units on the board at the moment, and this Aesol in the back, uncontested. The Rengar on the wrong target leaps away nonetheless, and the Aesol firing away, finds another black hole. Only Aphelios remains, and Bintum, after a full game, a hard-fought one at that, will fall to North America's Rainplosion.
What a lovely game, you guys. I wanted to see Rain do better today, and she gave us exactly that. We know she has a very impressive meta read, and maybe after day 1, she sat down, looked at everybody.